There was an idea
to bring together a group of remarkable people.
To see if we could become something more.
So when they needed us, we could fight the battles
that they never could.
In time, you will know what it's like to lose. To feel so desperately that you're right, yet to fail all the same. Dread it. Run from it. Destiny still arrives.
Evacuate the city. Engage all defenses. And get this man a shield.
Fun isn't something one considers when balancing the universe. But this does put a smile on my face.
Who the hell are you guys?
Hello, everybody, and thank you for tuning in. This is a special episode of Frame by Frame. This is our Avengers Infinity War spoiler cast. Hide your kids, hide your wife. Thanos is here. I'm joined tonight with Jonathan and Kyler. How
What's
you
up?
doing?
I'm
doing great. I'm very sad.
Yeah, it's a sad day. Just to let you know, just to let everybody know, we are going full spoiler mode. Okay, there aren't going to be any of those little general impressions. We're doing that, but spoilers. Okay, all spoilers are on the table. If you haven't seen the movie,
It's hard to
get out.
hard to talk about this movie. Just do general impressions
I know.
without spoiling
Yeah.
or going deeper.
Out spoiling it. I'm telling you, even if you have the faintest of desire to go see this movie, stop watching now
Yeah, do yourself a favor and come back.
after you've seen it.
Yes.
Don't watch.
Or you just come back now. It's fine.
Yeah.
Don't leave.
No, don't do that. Stop watching. Okay, you hear me? Let's talk about the elephant in the room.
Hit it.
Going right there.
We're going right there.
The Ashverse.
The Ash Boy realm.
Kyler, tell us, what do you think?
Oh my god. I can't even. I don't even know. Okay, like, what do I think of everybody turning into Ash, or what do I think everybody went, or
Just what do you think? What are you thinking?
I I remember it happened, right?
Yep.
He snapped, and I thought,
Oh,
wait a second. They do it, and then they cut to that
Whoop.
scene where he's like in like some soul dimension or whatever, talking
Mhm.
to
Talking to
Gamora.
little Gamora.
And then it cuts back, and he just goes away,
Yep.
and then it goes to Bucky.
Oh,
And
it's
he
so
goes-
exciting.
And then it just keeps going and going and going, and then it ends.
Everybody or half, they just turn to ash.
But
Gone.
I love how they edited that. Like, as soon as he snapped his
Yeah.
fingers, like they took that moment to like do a brief cutaway, and
Yeah.
then they cut back, and it's just like silence. Like, all you can hear is just like the wind, and it's
Yeah.
just so eerie. And then
Yeah, I loved it.
everybody
Yeah.
they just like like instead of disappearing or like their clothes just dropping to the floor, they just like slowly turn to ash and like fly away, and nobody knows what the fuck is going on.
Disturbing. No, yeah, the best part
Completely
was
gone.
he just snapped, and then just the whole screen just goes white, and you're like, I'm like, oh my god, he he did it, like it happened. And then it
before
shows that like little soul scene with little Gamora. And I was like, what's going on here? And then just like that. And if you notice, or it could have been just me just thinking about it. I don't like placebo effect, but I think the colors were even more muted after or when they went back to
Earth.
Yeah. Right? I don't know. Was it just
could
me
be.
or was it?
I don't know. I don't remember it. I wasn't paying attention. I was just so shocked that happened. And then like I couldn't like process anything else that was happening. Like as soon as the first person turned to ash, I was like, no. And then like every scene they showed, I was like, oh no, which one's gonna turn to ash? Are they all gonna turn into ash? Like seeing which person turn to ash. Like
Spider-Man's was the worst.
Fucking Spider-Man's death.
It's like it happens to Bucky, and it's like, oh my gosh, like they're doing it, and it keeps happening. But it didn't like really hit me until like Black Panther starts fading away.
Yeah,
because I thought she was fading away.
Okoye, yeah, great subversion of expectations there.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah, a lot of the sidekicks survived, but not the people.
So yeah, so I don't know if you want to go into like speculation of what happened, like, but I think
we'll do that at the end. We'll do that towards the end.
Okay. But yeah, overall, like I like how they did that. And yeah, man, like dude, imagine being a kid and going to the theater, right? You don't know anything about contracts.
I know.
Anything about future movies, and seeing
I know.
Spider-Man, I don't want to go and just turn into ash and die in front of your face.
Like I finally understand what the reviews meant by we don't know how the mainstream audience will react to this movie.
Yeah.
Like I understand it, because the people, like you said, that don't know or that don't like really look into contract extensions or the future of movies, they are gonna be just utterly devastated watching this.
Yeah, and like, dude, like like everybody talks about that Star Wars moment they had in the theaters, right? Because like when you're a kid, you're like so impressionable. So when you see that Star Destroyer flying in like 1977, you're like an instant Star Wars fan. For me, it was like Spider-Man and like the Spider-Man movies that did that. So if I saw this when I was a kid and I just saw Spider-Man die at the end, I would be fucked up for life.
Right.
Never come back from that. There is no coming back from that.
Exactly.
Could you imagine if this was the end? This was the final MCU movie ever, and it ends with half of them just dying.
Oh my god. Yeah, that whole thing, that was wild to me. I'll say, like, this is, I don't know if this is bad or not, but the entire time I was watching that, I had the biggest just smile on my face.
I know you did.
The biggest smile on my face, because I was like, they are doing it.
Oh, I want to talk about audience reaction for a second, because like I can't remember, Brayden. I was like so invested in the movie, but our audience seemed like pretty tame, right? Or am I wrong?
Oh yeah, there were really no reactions. I do think that there was one reaction, and it was to Black Panther, but any other than that, nothing.
Yeah. What about your theater, Jonathan?
Well, I saw it twice. I remember the first one. I know I probably reacted a bit to some things. It was kind of muted. I definitely heard some sobbing at the end.
Oh my god.
Jeez.
I know I saw it with someone who was crying during Spider-Man's scene.
Oh.
I was getting a little misty-eyed.
But
yeah, it was a fucking sad moment, dude.
It was unbelievable though, because I was thinking, are they gonna do it? I just didn't think they would, even though, I mean, in retrospect, I guess it kind of makes sense, being like, oh, this is part one, and then there's a part two. But it felt like, no, they wouldn't. I thought they would do something else that would extend it out, and I thought part two would like pick up right back where this one leaves off. But no, it's just, you failed. Everyone failed. They came close. And they came really close.
It was so silent when it ended too. It was just like this deafening silence, and then there was like the way the credits just like kind of started going up. and it's just like white text on a black screen, like none of this fancy like credits. I was like, oh, oh.
I think you pointed it out, or like Kyler, like I think the most impactful thing that a lot of people are going to overlook is the fact that it says Thanos will return.
Yes.
Thanos will return.
That is so messed up.
Else.
That is so messed up.
Just that.
That is so wrong. That is so. I love that.
Oh, that part, that's so good. That's perfect.
It's kind of weird though, because from Thanos' perspective, he's done. He's got nothing left. I mean, he did it, and now he's just gonna rest.
He's chilling on a beach.
farmer.
All right, let's talk about this. Let's talk about Thanos, dude. Thanos is absolutely the best villain.
Oh yeah,
absolutely. Like, I know you would say Vulture is
Vulture's the closest. I think.
Okay.
After thinking about it some more, after seeing it another time, it's definitely Thanos. Like,
dude,
yeah, I'm
Thanos's what do you call it? Intentions. Like, I know a lot of people are like, I relate to Killmonger, which I don't know. If you do, you're a straight up terrorist. Okay. Like, that's all I gotta say on that. But Thanos's intentions, like, I actually understood it.
Yeah.
And if it wasn't, and if I wasn't like invested in these characters, I would, and the world that they built, I think I would like completely agree with him. Like completely be oh, okay, yeah, you did the right thing. But because I care about the characters that like died and that have this impact, have like the characters that survived as well, that have this event impacting them, I say, yeah, you're a monster. But if that wasn't there, I think I would have been like, okay, I see what you're doing.
Right. I mean, from a mathematical point of view or whatever, it makes sense. Although you start to think, what if it happened to us? What if this was like a real thing that happened? And it's like some of us would just disappear. It'd be done. It'd be over.
Oh yeah, go for it, Jonathan.
Yeah, and I mean, but I really got to give him props, because before I saw the movie, it's like, how the heck do you justify that? It's the most like ridiculous comic booky villain thing ever, and it is, but they did a good job at like actually making it believable, and especially like he's got a small bit of backstory, and it's really a lot of it I think is ego driven, because he wants to prove himself right, and he will go to all of this length just to prove himself right.
Oh, that part was so good, and like that might be my favorite moment, was the fact that he actually like loved Gamora. Like he actually loved her. Like there were no tricks. There was nothing there. He actually loved her, and he actually had to sacrifice her to see. That's the only reason why I don't think that it's ego driven, is because I feel like he wouldn't have gone to the lengths of killing somebody that he loved if it were for his ego, right?
Yeah.
Not like 100%, but I think he thinks he's right, and I think there's an element of trying to prove himself right, because.
But the thing is, like, he knows he's right, because he is.
He believes 100%.
Yeah,
like he's doing the right thing.
Exactly.
And you notice too is like when he's done with someone and he's already got his stone, he just leaves. He doesn't continue to torture.
Yeah, exactly. He tries, like, he doesn't want to kill anybody while doing this. He's only going to kill the people that get in his way.
Yeah.
That's it. Like, he didn't want to kill Loki, but Loki did that stupid ass thing where he's like, I'm gonna trick you. And Thanos is like, oh, okay, you figured that one out. And then he killed him because Loki tried to kill him. He wasn't going to kill Loki.
Can we talk about Loki's death for a second?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I didn't. That was like I felt like I should have felt something when Loki died, especially because he's been like a fan favorite villain for so long. Like he's been
Mhm.
the number one villain in the MCU until
Mhm.
Thanos. And that little moment was like Thanos being like, "Oh, this is the old villain of the MCU. He's nothing compared to me. I'm Thanos," and it just kills him.
I think it was the way he died.
It just felt
Like,
unceremonious, you know?
yeah,
Mhm.
because it was that moment of it was that thing that that all like heroes or whatever try to do, right?
Yeah.
Of oh, I'm act like I'm on his side, but I'm actually gonna backstab him. Like
Yeah.
I hate that in fiction so much. So when he did it, I was like, oh my god, obviously he's about to die here.
Yeah.
Like that could have been it as well. I don't know.
I don't know. I didn't hate it or anything. I just wish it was more like grandiose his death, especially because like
Yeah.
that drives Thor's entire thing throughout the entire movie. You know?
Right.
It kind
So-
of affected me more on the second viewing than the first, which is
Really?
weird. Yeah.
Huh. What do you think
Um,
that was?
I don't know. Yeah, I guess it's just because I can like contextualize the rest of the movie around it
yeah.
a second time,
That'll
Right.
do it.
and it's like it all links back to that beginning where Hemdall and Loki die.
Mm-hmm. Poor Heimdall, dude. They had to
I
do him
know.
like that.
But what an opening too! Like that is
Yeah.
like, a great way to
You know what?
establish Thanos.
You start with Thanos beating the Hulk.
Yeah.
It's
What?
it's so weird going from like Ragnarok directly into this because the tones are
Mhm.
like so different.
Oh yeah.
And it's like this is this is the kind of tone I wish Ragnarok had more of, just because of how serious and dire a lot of the stuff in that movie was, and yet it was never treated as such. And then like you start
Right.
off the beginning with like this cry for help from these Asgardians that are all dying, and then they just cut to the ship, and it's like half of them are gone, and Heimdall is like dying, Loki's dead. They send Thor off. Hulk gets sent to Earth. It's like this is really happening. It's really bad.
This is happening. Yeah, exactly. Like that. Like I don't think you could have set up Thanos any better than that. Like any better than having him just completely obliterate the Hulk to the fact that the Hulk won't even come out for the rest of the movie.
You know, like
Yeah.
the Hulk ejected himself from that battle. He's like, "No way! I am not getting out of here as fast as possible." He's
Yeah,
left.
exactly.
Jesus
It's
Christ!
like
He just left the
when
Thor there
you
and everything.
see right when you see like the Hulk actively scared, that's a moment for you. That's a moment for the audience to be like, "Oh shit, we should be scared now."
Yeah.
You know?
And they justify you being scared the whole thing,
Yes.
which is like a
Thanos.
first.
My God, dude. He's phenomenal. Like he's truly a great villain.
Yeah, and I love that opening shot of him too, where like his face is covered by the shadow. Like I couldn't tell if it was because we were sitting far away, but I was like trying to get a good look at it. I was like, I want to see his face, but he was just like all silhouetted, and he just looked really menacing.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, I love this.
I
Oh,
guess I really like what they did with Thanos in here. I kind of wish though that maybe in like the prior movies they could have done a better job at building him up. Like I think they did everything they needed to do with him in this movie to really justify him being the end game.
mhm.
I just kind of wish, I guess, because I was watching Guardians earlier, and you have that like 1 minute long scene where Thanos is in it, and that's really like all we ever saw of him before this.
Yeah.
And I kind of wish, I don't know, that's a minor thing because I think they did a
Yeah.
really good job with him. But I kind of wish, maybe we could have gotten more scenes with him and Gamora to kind of like show some of that relationship more than what we get in the Guardians movies.
Yeah.
I'm glad the Guardians movies stand on their own like that, but at the same time, you get to something like this, and I kind of feel like him sacrificing Gamora didn't have as much impact as it could have
Your
had.
voice is going wild, dude.
Is
That
it
sounds-
really?
It sounds good on my end.
Oh, okay, then it's just me.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just
But,
your ears are going wild.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we're all going wild.
exactly.
But yeah, I think for having to really set him up and like justify him in one movie, they did as good as they could have done.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, like this was his movie.
Yeah.
for
which is
sure.
Insane. Another thing too is
Oh, go for it, Brayden.
oh, okay. Okay. Another thing too was like this movie the moments in the movie and the way that it was all split up made everything feel like whoever was in that scene at that particular time, it was their movie.
Yeah. Oh
Mhm.
yeah, exactly. Like when they cut to the Avengers, it felt like not the Avengers. Well, I'm stupid. When it cut to the Guardians, I was like, it legitimately felt like we're watching a scene from Guardians 3. And then
Yeah.
when it cut to like Doctor Strange and the Hulk and all that, I was like, okay, we feel like we're kind of like in a Doctor Strange like team up movie. Like I love that. Like they were able to juggle
Yes.
all these different tones and characters. It's crazy.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
They did a very extremely good job. It was very smart to keep. It was very smart. A little disorienting at times, just like you would go from like
Think so?
something on Earth and then go into space. It was fine.
Mhm.
It wasn't a big issue. Although I feel like some it's hard to like put my finger on it, but something about the movie, it might just be because it's a part one and not the whole thing, but something about it feels like it's like missing something, and I still haven't figured out what that thing is.
Huh, interesting. I can kind of see that. Like when you're, it feels like it's most impactful when you're watching it the first time through because everything's a surprise. But once you
Mhm.
know the whole thing from start to finish, it's weird because it doesn't follow the structures of a conventional movie. So it's kind of
Yeah.
hard to like think of it that way. You know what I mean? It's like it's
Mhm.
not a 3 act
Right.
structure. There's not like an inciting incident and all this stuff. It's just a long continuous story. It's
Yeah.
crazy. It's weird
And it
that it even
works.
works in the
Yeah.
first place.
Like I said it a couple times, and I'll say it again here. Like this is like I was even talking to somebody at work about it today, and they were like, "As a movie, how was it?" And I kind of looked at them, and I've never said this before, and I said, "When you go into this, don't think of it as a traditional movie. Like think of it as you're literally watching a comic book.
Yeah, it's
Like
crazy.
this this is straight up a comic book, which is insane because you have the settings, you have just the story going to a whole bunch of different places, exactly like any large scale event in a comic book would go like,
Mhm.
and it was fascinating to watch that after coming off of watching or reading a couple comics from the Annihilation line or New Avengers or something like that, and just looking at it through that lens and thinking, wow, this is straight up a comic book movie because you have going from like let's say Thor meeting the Guardians to Scotland and this small little moment between Vision and Scarlet Witch, right? And then you go
Yeah.
back
Yeah.
to New York or something like that, and just right there, that whole structure is innately a comic book structure, and it's crazy. It was like super awesome to see that.
Yeah. I mean,
I yeah.
I think one of my favorite elements about the movie is how much it really does feel like everything in some way was leading up to this. Like
Mm-hmm.
it felt like everything that came before tied into this in some way. Like even Thor 2, I felt like, obviously you have to have some Thor 2 stuff with like the reality stone,
Right.
but it was like, dang, they like mentioned Thor 2. They mentioned like the dance off from Guardians 1.
Yep.
I feel like it was clear in my mind. Like after my first viewing, I was just thinking, it's like I feel like I could point out something from every prior Marvel movie.
For
Biggest
sure.
one, my favorite one,
Yeah.
being Mr. Red Skull
Mr.
showing up.
Red Skull.
That is so ridiculous.
That
Where did
was ridiculous.
he was like, why did he become like a spectral like Harry Potter spooky ghost? That's what I don't
Yeah,
get.
that was wild. I saw him and I was like, wait, what?
The guy next to me was like,
Yeah.
I was like, yup, that's it.
Were you sitting next to Scooby Doo?
Yeah, yeah, that was crazy. Another great one. Though I do wish that Thor kept his eye patch, not gonna lie. But
Oh yeah, that was
Oh,
kind of
but
crazy.
but at the same time, it's
yeah,
like that payoff to
yeah.
like when he got an
Exactly.
eye.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yep, that's exactly what I was gonna say. It's
And
like,
that's the thing, is like
oh my god.
it's like it feels like all the way back when Civil War came out and they decided to develop Tony and Peter Parker as like a duo. It
Oh,
felt
yeah.
it honestly felt like from it feels like they knew that it was gonna lead to this, how
I
this movie
Mhm.
ends, just so that that scene has so much like, weight to it.
Yeah, I was thinking about that too because I watched Homecoming like right before Infinity War, and there's a line where Tony goes like he's sad that Peter's like getting into this trouble, and he's like, if you die, that's all me. And then how they
Yeah.
start the movie with Tony Stark like being, oh, I want a kid, like I want to have a dad, and at the very end have like,
I want to have a dad.
I mean, I want to have a kid, I want to be a dad, I want to have a kid.
Oh, I
And
think
then
he does
have,
want to
like-
have
Yeah,
a
he
dad.
does wanna
too.
have
He
a dad
also
as
wants
well.
a dad too. Yeah, I mean, we all do really. But at the end, you know, to have like Peter be like a sassy teenager and like disobey him during the movie and stuff, and at the end just
Mhm.
have him die, like just Tony feels like it's all on him. It's horrible.
Yeah, it's not his fault, but at the same time, it's like there he is, like right in front of him.
Yeah, turning into
It's the only one
ash.
that's able to even like react to it.
Straight up turning into ash.
God.
What? What the heck? Let's talk about the true MVP of the show, Doctor Strange. Oh
Yeah.
my god!
Well, I
Oh
don't-
my god!
I think MVP. I'd personally give it to Thor, but like
Really?
Doctor Strange is like right there.
Dude,
Like
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 wow.
that. It's only like 30 seconds, but that whole fight scene he gets with Thanos is
Mhm.
so good.
When he, like,
Yes.
he's I'm waiting for him to grab his axe, like the Leviathan Groot axe.
Yes.
I'm waiting for him to grab it, and they cut away before he grabs it, which I think is genius. And then we just see him like fly down. I was like, oh, this is so good. This is a great moment, a crowd pleasing.
Thor is straight up Kratos in this movie.
Oh my god, the
Yeah.
axe throw
And
everything.
some. Axe throw, everything. Dude, Thor is pretty wild in this. Oh my god. Yeah, he was good. In his whole like interactions with Rocket and Groot, and how Groot is part of his axe now, and how the Groot's language was an Asgardian elective or whatever.
Yeah.
Like that's why I was trying to think why I told you earlier right after you saw the movie that I really liked that first half of the movie more than the second half. Like even though the second half is where all the crazy stuff happens, and like the first half is
Right.
kind of where like we're building it up. But I think it was just
Right.
because I was so excited to see how they were gonna like tie all these characters together,
Yeah.
especially
Mhm.
Guardians, because they've always been like so separated.
Mhm.
So to see them like get Thor and then have these interactions, it was so good, and I just love that heart to heart that he has with Rocket.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's one of my favorite
Oh,
scenes
and
in
then
the whole movie.
and then Rocket goes, "Yeah, well, I've got a lot to lose," and then he loses it all.
I know.
Every single person. He doesn't even know it yet.
Oh my god!
Like, dude,
especially Groot.
Oh my god, yes. The craziest thing about this too was like watching that. Like, I wasn't really getting teary eyed until like Spider-Man, but then outside, like after thinking about it and
Yeah,
everything,
exactly.
that's when I started like it actually sunk in, and I started getting really sad because I think I know exactly how this is going to turn out for him.
Yeah.
And I don't want it to happen, but we'll get to
But-
that.
I love that scene too because you know Rocket has always been kind of like the goofy character, you know, and then they
Yeah.
even tried to make Thor a goofy character. So when they have the heart to heart, there's like some comedic elements behind it. But you look at Rocket, and Rocket is like serious the whole time. He's like, "Hey, like man, you had it
Well,
rough."
Even Thor, I mean, it never really sunk into me just how bad Thor has had it
Yeah.
until that scene where he
No.
just lays it all out on the table.
You know
Yeah.
who's had it the worst? Scarlet Witch.
Oh.
She has had it.
She's had
the
it
absolute worst.
Yeah,
really,
she's-
really bad.
Yeah,
So
she lost her brother, she lost the vision, and she lost her Russian accent.
And yeah, right. And she lost where she grew up. Her whole like city just got destroyed.
Man,
Dude.
R.I.P. Quicksilver, dude. I just want to say that.
R.I.P.
Like he would have been
Quicksilver.
so awesome in this movie.
R.I.P. Vision, dude. He got okay. I will
Oh
say
my
this. I think
God.
Vision got underhanded so hardcore in this movie.
Yeah.
Like he was in Ultron and even Civil War. Like he was
OP.
yeah,
was
he was
ridiculous.
OP. He was even higher than a god. I mean, he has a goddamn Infinity Stone stuck in his head,
Yeah.
but he doesn't do anything in this movie. Like, he actually doesn't do anything in this movie.
I kinda don't blame him.
They kind of justify it. At least they tried to justify it with how he got stabbed at the beginning, and that like really messed him up. But at the same time, I feel like we were robbed of some good,
Yes,
good Vision action.
exactly.
He still got some. He got
The way
some
he
lick.
went too, it was like this movie. It was like War Machine. You know, War Machine. War Machine was actually pretty good in this movie. I
Yeah, I
liked
did
it.
like him. Mm-hmm.
But in like, it's like Vision got that treatment, and like
Yeah.
his death and everything. Oh my god, Thanos straight up like ripped his head off,
Oh my
like
god.
ripped a chunk of his head out.
It's like it wasn't bad enough that like Wanda had to destroy the Mind Stone,
and you
and
get
like
to see it.
for a split second, I really thought, oh my
know, me
gosh.
too.
So
I
is
know.
this where they're going? That he can't complete it? But then no, he's like, nah,
No.
I'm gonna just
I
turn.
love
I
that.
got the time
'Cause
stone.
you get so wrapped up in that moment because it's so emotional, you know?
Mhm,
And then as soon as
mhm.
it's over, there's kind of like a sigh of relief, and then he's like, "Nah, dude, I got the time stone, baby." And he
Yeah.
reverts him back, and you just see his like body parts like forming again.
Yeah.
He grabs him and rips the front chunk of his head off.
She literally has to see him
Yes,
die
it's
twice.
horrible.
And she had to do it the first time.
That is so
And then she-
messed up.
His head get ripped out.
Dude, imagine being a kid and just watching that. Like,
No.
being like, "Oh, Vision's cool." Oh God.
Oh my god, dude. But like, I really think my favorite character in this was Doctor Strange, just because I'm not a big fan of Doctor Strange the movie. I think it's very mediocre and super like forgettable. But they made him like so incredibly good in this movie that I actually wanted to go back and watch Doctor Strange again.
Well, yeah, that's why I
Mhm.
actually like I don't hate Doctor Strange the movie. He's like my second favorite Marvel character next to Spidey. And,
Oh
like,
yeah, dude.
and that's why I didn't hate the Doctor Strange movie, because I knew like there was more potential for him in the future,
Mhm.
which they totally pay off in this movie. And I just love his
Oh,
character,
yes.
like as a general, like
Yep.
not as a general, like in general.
General
Like,
Strange.
Tony.
You
But
maggot.
yeah, I love him, and I love the pairings that they did in this movie, like especially
Yes.
him and Tony Stark, like that
Him and
whole
Tony Stark, my favorite interactions in the entire movie.
so good.
Mhm.
Mm.
Yeah, Doctor Strange is just like he's so far ahead of the curve of
Yes,
everyone.
exactly.
Like so far.
That's the thing too. Like, I know something you said earlier. You were like, they were so close, and it's like, but that's the point. Doctor Strange was like,
Yeah.
Doctor Strange let all of this happen because he knew this was the only way to get to that one universe in which everything, like, in which the world is fine, in air quotes.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, can we talk about Squidward and like those guys for a second?
Yeah. Let's talk
Yeah.
about them.
I feel like for the most part, like they did what they needed to do, which was show people, you know, like well to have these action scenes outside of them hunting Thanos, you know.
Mhm.
But I just want to say, man, Squidward got underhanded big time.
Dude, and he was the
Squidward
best.
so
too.
cool. Yeah, he was so
Yeah.
cool, and his visual effects like looked really good on him. Like in some parts,
Yes.
it looked almost practical, which I wasn't sure if it was or not.
No,
Mhm.
yeah, none of it was.
That's crazy.
Yes, dude. Ebony Maw was the best of the entire group. You know, I actually wrote this as one of my negatives. I'm not a big fan of the Black Children. I think that's what they were called, the Black
No, no, the Black
Black
Order.
Order.
Oh no,
What's wrong with Black Children?
nothing.
Oh,
It's just
okay.
not the Black Order. It's just not the Black Order.
No, it is the Black Order.
No, it is the Black Order. What you
Not
said was
Black
not
Children.
the Black
I know,
Order.
I
yeah.
know. Sorry. Not it's not Black Children. It's the Black Order. All right. No, I really wasn't a big fan of them, other than Ebony Maw, and then he was the first one to go, and the way he went was so silly. Ugh.
Yeah. I mean,
Well, yeah, he got aliens.
I think
Yeah.
they did a good job of making them feel like a legitimate threat and not like just cannon fodder. But
I
at the
thought the
same
only
time, I
one-
feel like
yeah.
they're just kind of there.
I thought the only one that did actually feel like a threat was the one that went out the worst way.
Yeah,
it was
I mean,
Maw,
Ebony
like,
Maw was
oh my
definitely
God, dude.
the most interesting.
Yes, he was so
From-
cool.
I love that fight scene on New York. That was so cool.
Yes, dude. Oh yes.
And I
When
love that,
he
like,
says like using the environment. Oh, I just threw my pencil across the room.
but yeah, and I love that scene so much because like that felt the most comic booky because they're like in New York, this crazy stuff is happening, and they're all interacting with each other, and like, and then Iron Man's like, "There's a wizard, go chase the wizard," and he's like, "All right, here I go." I was like, it's so cool.
And that's a great scene too, like right before it, where like Tony's just walking out and seeing everything flying in front of him, like as he's just
Yeah.
slowly.
That was genuinely
there.
eerie.
Yes. Yeah, it reminded me of like War of the Worlds.
I love it. Like like even in the Avengers when like all of New York was in trouble, like you never felt that way. You know what I mean? But in
Yeah.
this movie, they really felt like because it's so grounded, you know. And you're walking around, there's people running and screaming. There's no music. It's all silent, and all you just hear is like the ambient sounds.
Yeah.
Oh, I love
terror.
that too. When he was talking to Hulk, he's like, "Come on, buddy! Like this is your time." And then he's like, "Banner,
yeah.
you're really making me embarrassed in front of these wizards." Oh, I love the Hulk's arc in this movie because it's leading up to Bruce Banner and Hulk like becoming one. You know, like Hulk becoming that intelligent. Like he's just Bruce Banner. You know.
I'm calling it now. In the next Avengers, like him becoming Hulk is gonna be one of the most hype moments.
Yes.
Like him finally becoming Hulk and then like beating Thanos to a pulp or whatever it is.
Getting revenge.
Yeah, that's gonna be insane.
Oh yeah.
I gotta say they handled the humor, I think, super well.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes the humor becomes overbearing, and it's like this is supposed to be serious. Stop.
Really,
joking.
what moments do you think?
The first one I'm thinking right now is Ultron. How Ultron was like a big jokester a lot of that movie, and I
Oh,
felt like he wasn't serious
Oh,
enough.
I thought you were talking about.
Yeah, he
this
means in
movie.
general.
Oh, okay, I see.
No, this movie handled it so well. I think where all the funny parts were like legitimately funny. They were well placed. It never really felt like this isn't the time to make a joke.
Mm-hmm.
And
Right.
I gotta give him props to that it still had like the Marvel sense of humor. Shout outs to Drax for being the funniest
Shout out to
character
Drax.
Oh yeah.
in the movie.
I perfected being
I think-
completely.
I think this is the best they've handled humor and like the real emotional scenes since Iron Man
Yeah.
1. Because like you go back and watch Iron Man 1, that has almost like a different tone than like the rest of the MCU.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Like I
Mhm.
love the tone in that movie, and then no other MCU movie has that like feel to it. And I think they're getting closer and closer to like getting back to that. And I feel like this is like
Mhm.
best that they have.
I think something about Iron Man 1, it might be like the way it's like shot or like
Yeah,
the
like, it
cameras
looks
they use.
cinematic.
It's just so yeah, that's a good word to use. Compared to like just the digital feeling that I get from everything
Yeah, like the
else.
wild colors and stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, there were two parts in specifically where I was like, okay, the CG, what's going on here? Like, this is like a huge movie, and the CG still looks this bad.
Oh
One of them, one of them was on Peter Dinklage. Jesus. I did not like that. That was some weird stuff going on.
Where's the handle? Where's the handle?
And then another one was on the Hulkbuster suit. And
Okay,
like,
yeah.
Oh yeah, Mark
seeing
Ruffalo's
Mark
head.
Ruffalo inside the Hulkbuster suit, I was like, come on.
Yeah.
Are you
Yes,
serious?
Hey guys,
it's me, Mark.
You know, there's something about Mark Ruffalo's performances ever since like Thor Ragnarok where he just feels like so like dumb and like weak. I don't get it. I mean,
aloof.
he's
Yeah.
so-
He is straight up
Yeah.
aloof. And
I mean,
love it.
I guess it makes sense when he's been Hulk for so long and he still has that mentality that he hasn't fully recovered from, I guess. But like compared to like how he is in like the first two Avengers movies here, I just feel like he's so like feeble and like
They turned him into like a comic relief character.
Yeah, I
like,
mean,
straight
you
up
also
comic
gotta
relief.
think like he's like been away from society for years.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, but like I care. It's been a while since I've seen the first Avengers movie, but I remember him being like, oh, even in Ultron, like when him
Yeah.
and Tony were arguing, like he felt smart and capable, but now they kind of shifted him into like bumbling and like goofy
But-
and like not knowing what's happening.
But he's been the
Yeah.
Hulk. He's been the Hulk ever
guess
since
so.
the end of Ultron, up into when Thor made him back into
Yeah.
Bruce
Right.
Banner.
Yeah, that's
so,
true. That's true.
Which is like I guess the main justification, but it still feels like it's just weird seeing him act like this, even knowing that.
I don't know. I don't think so. That's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Um,
What were your guys' favorite character interactions?
I got to give props to the short little bit where Winter Soldier and Rocket Raccoon team up.
Yep, I've
Oh,
got that
yeah.
down. Yes.
We
Oh,
need more of that. I'm
we
just
need
sad we didn't
more
get
of
more of
that.
that.
Like not only
Yeah.
just that, but that little like interaction they get at the end where he's like, "How much are you selling the gun for?"
Yeah.
How about the arm?
How about the arm? He's gonna get that arm. I hope he does.
I just my favorites was like everything involving Doctor Strange. Like I love when they first encounter the Guardians of the Galaxy, and he's like, "Who do
Oh
you
my gosh.
serve?" And he's like, "What am I supposed to say? Jesus Christ!"
Yeah.
Like that was the funniest joke in the whole movie to me.
Yeah.
No, no. I think my favorite like
You know what you're gonna say.
my favorite thing is when I think they're just standing out on Titan, and like he says to Drax like, "Why are you yawning?" And then Drax and Mantis start like talking to each other, and then Mantis says, "Kick names, take ass," and then it just cuts back to Tony like completely dumbfounded and silent for like 10 seconds, and nothing else happens.
I missed that.
Yeah,
I didn't see that part. No, I was gonna say the part where Star Lord starts like making his voice deeper for Thor.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Just
I
that
forgot about
that entire thing.
they nailed the Guardians so hard. Apparently,
Yes.
James Gunn did write all
Yeah,
the
yeah,
Guardian
yeah,
stuff,
yeah.
which
I figured. Yeah, they
makes
had him on
complete
set.
sense.
I heard.
Yeah, it makes
He was
so
an
much
executive
sense.
producer.
Remember that scene where they go to get the Reality Stone from the Collector?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Apparently, you know how during the end of the credits we're like, "Oh, Arrested Development character." Apparently, Tobias from
Yep.
Arrested Development was in a cage.
Tobias Funk was there.
But
I
not
tried
only-
looking. I tried looking for that on the second viewing. I couldn't find it.
Oh, really? But I
Yeah.
want to say when he blasted Drax and Mantis, I thought they legit died. Like it was like, the pit of my stomach.
Oh,
Like
that was disgusting.
it was so horrifying. Like
Oh.
her body just like strung out, and then Drax like silently fell into cubes on the floor.
Yeah.
I was like, Jesus Christ! Like I felt like upset. Like I don't know why it happened so soon and so suddenly. I thought they were actually like gone.
I loved everything between Vision and Scarlet Witch as well.
Yeah.
Really?
I thought everything was done extremely well with them.
Yeah. For
I
what they
just-
had.
Better action. That's it.
Yeah, it's good.
Cap's intro was cool, but I
Oh,
wish we
his-
got more of him.
His
Yeah.
intro was the best thing he had in the whole movie.
It was so
Especially
cool.
when
Yeah.
the Avengers theme kicks in.
Besides getting shields made of rock.
Yeah.
This man is
Well,
shield.
I'm sure they were made of vibranium. It'd be really, really, really dumb if he was in Wakanda and they gave him rock shields.
Yeah, it went real well for him. They didn't show it at all, really. They didn't show any of his action, which is fine because he had his time to shine.
Yeah,
Okay?
especially with under the
guess so.
Russos. I mean, they've been
Yeah.
doing Captain America up until
But
now.
come on, give him his shield. Like honestly, like
Oh, that's gonna be a moment though.
Yeah, next movie, I feel like that's definitely gonna be like a Cap movie. You know what I mean?
all I want
He gave up
is
the shield.
all I
in
want
Civil War.
is him to just call on the Leviathan axe. That's it.
Yeah.
I just want oh.
Like Thor gets
Oh.
taken out of commission and he has to pick up the axe to
All right.
Thanos.
All right, let me see if there's anything else. Oh yes, my favorite shots, my favorite moment. Like, okay, this is it. This is my favorite of the entire movie. Is when that one stupid Black Order chick was like, yeah, well, we've got creatures, and then they went inside of the carrier or whatever, and they showed them like smashing around everywhere.
Mhm.
And then they let them loose, and then they were like running like these savage dogs and creatures, just like going through the jungle and shit. I was like, oh, this is like legitimately terrifying. Like
Yeah.
this is straight up like from Aliens. Like this is crazy.
For me, I was more of like we're gonna have one of those like Justice League things where they just fight a bunch of CGI monsters.
Yeah,
But they did look cool though.
Dude,
Usually-
that shot was crazy.
usually
It was well shot.
yeah, usually these giant like thousands versus thousands scenes don't really register for me. I kind of just like check out a bit, but I think they did a good job with this one because it was more character focused instead of it being about the bigger picture for the most part.
Yeah, for sure.
Dude, just like watching them like just savagely just beat each other up against the walls inside of those carriers with the red lights shining on them. I was like, oh my
Yeah.
god, that is awesome.
That
And then they
makes
let
sense.
loose and their hands and shit were like hitting the puddles and stuff, and people just, it was just going so fast.
Yeah,
And I
it's
was
cool
like,
because
oh,
they
wow.
look just like the doppelgangers from
Mhm.
the OG Infinity War comic. Or I
Yeah.
think it was Infinity Gauntlet actually.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I
Yeah.
didn't like Peter Dinklage. I didn't like that. That was too weird for me.
I liked that that scene.
Yeah, I like the
I
scene.
guess.
Yes, exactly. I liked the sequence of it. I just
Yeah,
didn't like him.
I can kind of agree. I think that his CG looked a little off. Like it looked like they kind of just blew him up.
It was
You
so
know,
bizarre.
That's exactly what it was. And like I
Yeah.
don't want to sound like mean or anything when I say this, but it's weird because whenever you make something I don't know what the PC term is for this, but like the little person, whenever you blow that up to like that big, it just looks so weird. And
Yeah.
like, that's so bad, that's so mean to say, but it just it doesn't look right, and
I feel like there
it
was
almost like exaggerates the fact that I don't know.
I think that was their intention maybe to make it feel like some outlandish thing instead of like a like you know what I mean, like they wanted to drive home that this was a weird space place, like these space blacksmiths, like they're the only ones who could do it.
Mhm.
But
Not
they had
like
to like
that.
go out of their way to make it like visually interesting. I don't know.
Just visually disgusting is what it was. Did not like that. So let's get into the speculation.
Okay.
Well, I guess just one thing that's been on my mind that I wanted to talk about
Mhm.
before we move on is just I saw this online, and like the more I think about it, the more I like appreciate the movie for this. But it's like its theme of sacrifice,
Mhm,
how it runs through everything, and like
for sure.
if you think about it, Thanos is the only character in the whole movie who's like willing to sacrifice to reach his goals, and in the end, he's the only one that does. Everyone else who had to sacrifice something either hesitated too long or they just couldn't bring themselves to do it.
Yeah.
Yep, well that's gonna have to change.
Like with Peter, like with Peter Quill, and then with Thanos sacrificed Gamora, and then Scarlet Witch trying to sacrifice a Vision.
Mm-hmm.
That was what a great moment that was too, when Peter like actually pulled the trigger.
Yeah, I love that.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
that was good. And those bubbles were a reference to the comics as well.
Yeah, hesitated too long.
Yeah. Oh my god, dude. All right. Yeah, let's
Yeah,
get
great-
into the
great-
speculation here.
Great villain.
Great villain. So going off of that whole sacrifice thing, dude,
Yeah.
the future is not looking looking up for Mr. Rocket Raccoon, man.
Oh no, or any of the OG Avengers.
Yeah, I think Iron Man's safe. I really do. I think that War Machine is especially going to have a big hand in this, and he's going to be like, "Hey, Tony," like I think Pepper is going to say that she's pregnant in the next one or whatever.
You know what? That's another thing I wanted to mention. Like you listen to that phone call and like Pepper's like begging for him to come home, and it cuts
Yeah.
out what she's about to say. I'm going to blank.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm thinking she was gonna say I'm going to have a baby.
Oh,
Yeah,
probably.
'Cause
I
that,
forgot about that.
I know.
that would have brought him home right away.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. I think that's it. I think that's gonna be the straw, and I hope to God that Iron Man like lives through this. I really do. I think it'll be better. I think for the story, so that he can be out of contract but still come in as that Nick Fury type character. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Or have him like cameo in more Spider-Man movies.
yeah.
Exactly. Just have him be like the overseer of the Avengers without getting in the Iron Man suit.
Yeah.
You know,
Mhm.
like I think that's really the future. They got to go with him, but everybody else, I think they're dead. Like
Everyone
actually.
else,
Including the Hulk.
No, not the
including,
Hulk,
like
not the Hulk.
Ant-Man.
Oh well, okay, yeah, no, not them.
Um,
But I think Black Widow, I think she's dead. Even though I think her movie's gonna be a prequel.
yeah.
I think she's gonna die. Cap's gone. He's gonna die.
I've seen some. It's not really speculation, but more like, what if they did this, where like,
Mhm.
if Black Widow dies, is that gonna be what brings the Hulk back out?
Oh, Oh, maybe.
Oh,
Oh, that could do it. I forgot.
yes. Oh, yep, that's what it's gonna be.
Oh my god.
Oh, that's gonna be sad.
Then we
So
get
do we-
Gray Hulk or something. I don't know.
So
Dude,
do-
yes, if they hit us
they
with the
did
Gray Hulk. Oh my god.
I'm all about that.
Hit us with
Or
the
Red
Gray
Hulk.
Hulk.
Red Hulk.
Well, Red Hulk is Ross, isn't it?
Yeah, that
Yeah.
is true.
Oh,
Ross
stupid
is still in
General
this.
Ross. Is he?
Yeah,
He
he
was
is.
in
Well, maybe
Infinity
you
War.
don't.
I
You
thought
don't
he
know.
got. I thought he got crippled.
You don't know if he got ashed first.
Oh, that
Yeah,
too.
I
yeah,
mean,
yeah,
that's
yeah.
the thing. We don't know. I can
Oh
guarantee
my
you that
God.
Hawkeye is fine. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah,
know,
he's good.
Oh
He's-
no, dude.
I'm really excited to see what they do with Hawkeye. I don't know if we can
Mhm.
talk about like anything that like any set photos or anything that kind of imply what they might be doing.
I mean, yeah, we can. That's fine.
I won't go
let's go
too
for it.
deep into some of the crazier stuff just in case this is something they want to keep under wraps. But I can talk about apparently it takes place a couple years later.
5
Yeah.
years, yeah. 5
Yeah,
years.
which is so exciting to me because I want to see like a struggle between like the Avengers or like maybe like just the normal people. If like there's people who think that they are better off, we start to see like improvements in a lot of areas. Like I want to see them tackle the idea that maybe Thanos was right and maybe it's wrong at this point. Like this is our future now. Maybe we should just stick with it instead of going back, which they're going to go back. There's no
Oh
question.
yeah.
But I want to see them entertain that idea and like, you
Yeah.
know, because I think that's so interesting if they
It
like
is.
actually entertain the idea that maybe this is better and like Tony Stark is just like he's not having any of it, or I mean maybe some other Avengers are like that maybe this is for the best and Thanos
Yeah.
is never going to come attack us again.
Right.
It's interesting. With Hawkeye though, it's looking like he's gonna become a Ronin.
What?
What the fuck?
Huh.
Well, all right, you might be thinking of a different Ronin.
Yeah, I
there's-
am.
Are you thinking of Guardians of the Galaxy Ronin?
Yes.
No, not that guy. Something else. I guarantee you his family's dead. I don't know if there will be a scene for it, but his family's gonna die. There's no doubt.
Probably.
His family dusted away, and Hawkeye is punished Hawkeye.
Oh,
he's gonna
hell
be-
yeah.
Ooh, I'm down with that.
He's gonna become some just I don't know. I don't know the Ronin
What is
character too
Ronin?
well.
What is
Ronin is like I don't know what the full story is in the comics, but basically Hawkeye gives up his Hawkeye persona and like he's fighting crime in like Tokyo for some reason, like a samurai or something. I have no clue.
Huh. A
Like,
Ronin
just-
is a lone samurai.
Yeah. So that's what he becomes after his family dies. He's a lone samurai.
Dude, I am all about that.
Yeah,
I
I'm
want
down with
Hawkeye
that.
to have a really big role in this, which I mean he probably will, just because
Yeah,
you
they
look at the
said-
numbers.
They said whoever didn't have a lot of screen time in this one, get ready. Though I still think one of the characters that is going to be integral and has to be integral is Doctor Strange.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so excited to see where they go with him now.
I'm
I
so
never thought I never thought I would say that after his I really love Doctor Strange, but after his movie just kind of soured me because they didn't go too in depth with the whole like demon realm and everything.
It's very
yeah.
boilerplate.
But here we go. Like this is Doctor Strange. This is what I wanted to see. This they made him overpowered, and that's why all this is happening.
Mhm.
Not only that, but I feel like now after this movie, like Marvel is totally like after they've dipped their feet in it, like they're totally cool with like going crazy and out there with like the more
Mhm.
strange comic book realm stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Especially after like the spectral Red Skull. So I feel like
Yeah.
a
Yeah, I mean-
potential like future Doctor Strange movie, like they could go all out.
Yeah,
All out.
they made this movie with like a giant Peter Dinklage dwarf,
Yeah.
the ghost of Red Skull, just so many like weird things, and it's become the
Everybody
highest-
dying.
It's
Every
insane.
and it's become the highest grossing movie opening ever in
Ever.
history.
This is like such good news. Also horrifying news. I don't know. It depends on how you look at it.
Dude, this is good news. Like straight up.
Like
This is unbelievable.
I feel like Marvel has kind of like become so confident in their product that they feel like they can do whatever they want.
Mhm.
But if there is ever any doubt now, I mean, I don't think they should hold anything back, anything weird or crazy. There's no reason to.
Yeah.
Captain
it's-
Marvel is going to be insane.
Mhm.
It comes out before Infinity War too, right?
March 6th.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, so we got Ant-Man in July, Ant-Man
Mhm.
2, and then Captain Marvel, and then whatever they
And
call Avengers 4.
and then Spidey right afterwards.
Yeah, I don't.
That
Oh my gosh, what
yeah,
the heck
what
are
are
they
they
gonna
gonna
do?
do? I don't know. It's
I feel like,
crazy.
are they gonna convince Sony to not release a single trailer until like 2 weeks after Avengers 4 comes out?
They start filming this summer, so all these set photos are gonna come out. I don't know what I'm gonna do with that.
It's 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 tricky.
Do you guys want to talk about the Ash Boy realm?
Yeah, let's talk about this. What do you think? What do you think is going on with that?
I
They're inside the
really,
Soul Stone.
mm, I don't know.
They're inside the
It's
Soul Stone, and the OG Avengers have to sacrifice themselves to free everybody from the Soul Stone.
I think they're in the reality zone.
Ooh.
And then I think that they're in another reality.
Like a different
Reality,
dimension.
a reality where the people that Jonathan, I think you were the one that actually brought this to my attention. The reality where the people that didn't get turned to ash are gone. And it's like a parallel universe, right? If you have a straight line, okay,
yeah,
and you put all the people that got turned to ash on one line, all the people didn't get turned to ash on the other line. The opposite happened for the people on either lines.
Yeah.
You know, so the
Mhm.
people that did get turned into ash saw the people that didn't get turned to ash
it was something because
turn to
if you
ash.
look at the main poster for Infinity War and you assume that the characters that weren't there at the end, if you assume that they stayed alive,
Mhm.
there were 24 characters on that poster. 12 are alive, 12 are gone.
Oh yeah. It's a 50-50 split.
Yeah, yeah.
What
But
you
you have to
told me.
you have to assume that Wong and Shuri are still alive, which I would bet they are.
I hope Wong is still alive. I also really want to see the interaction between Aunt May and Iron Man now.
Oh
Ah,
man.
you know what? This is the thing. I like want this movie to be like 10 hours long just to
I know.
cover like all of this
I
potential
know.
that they
I know.
have.
And
Yeah,
that's why it's so hard because it works in a comic book because you can do that. But in a
yeah.
movie, it's so strict, like with your time and like how they have to show this stuff.
Like yeah, like you said it too, Kyler. It's like whatever. Like we have a whole year to speculate on what we want to see, and
Yeah.
not all of it's gonna be in there. So
No.
It's tough. I mean, even if they go the full 3 hours, that's still only 3 hours.
these movies are
Yeah.
gonna be better viewed together. Like honestly, like after this is done, I think if you put it into one movie, it's gonna work better than if you watch them separately. Just
Right. I mean,
because I feel like some of the stuff in the beginning of this one, or like my only issue with the future of this is that the events of this one are going to be inconsequential after this next one,
um, maybe.
which like
I
We don't
think
like
know yet.
I think
well
if you
yeah
bring
exactly
I think
exactly
if you bring all the characters back and they like remember that it's like, oh, I died, it's like you could still like leave that impact on the characters that felt it.
Yeah.
Even if they're back, it's like, that doesn't leave you, especially with someone like Spider-Man.
Yeah, I feel like it still works in the moment. Like even if because we know most of those guys are gonna come back. Like
yeah
they're
for
not
sure.
like Spider-Man's definitely not dead. But like even in the moment, just that one
Mhm.
moment they share, like that still is effective. You know what I mean?
Hmm. Well, that's
Right.
why I'm so excited that this is like such a big time skip, is so that the characters
Yeah.
can feel that weight, like
Yeah.
realistically, and not that it just picks right back up and it's like, okay, we got to do something about this right now.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
It's going to be weird though because when the characters do come back from death or whatever, are they going to know that they died? You know,
Hmm.
I
and
think
so
Are they gonna come
I
back like they missed 5 years too?
I think they're gonna reverse back to before any of that happened. I
Probably,
think.
yeah, probably.
yeah, I mean, we saw
What-
yeah bringing set pictures into this. We saw OG Thor with long hair in his OG costume.
Yeah, it's
So
gonna be a trip.
this is going to be a trip.
Man, I've never been so excited, but also kind of like trepidatious for a movie
Yeah,
before. Because like,
trepidatious. What a word.
I have
Writing that down.
I have full confidence that they'll pull it off, especially with the
Oh yeah.
Russos. They've nailed it 3 times in a row.
for sure.
Like they nailed this. they honestly feel like unstoppable at this point.
I'm not
Mhm.
concerned about like my expectations because I already know like that it's just gonna be a fun and entertaining movie, especially at the hands of the Russos.
Yes.
I'm more like scared of like the general audience reaction where they're gonna be like, "Oh, of course they brought everybody back," which is like it's not a horrible complaint, but I don't know. It's just that I feel like everybody's speculation and expectations in this like hype culture, I guess you could call it, is gonna be dangerous for this movie. It's like it's crazy.
Is there a list of people that were brought back and a list of people that weren't?
What do you mean?
Brought back,
Or
you mean
not
turned
brought back,
ash?
turned into ash, and those that weren't.
I think
I
everybody.
could tell you who wasn't turned into ash.
Yeah, go for it.
Or wait, do you mean like
Okay, I have it. I have it. Okay, so the
Okay.
characters that disappeared: Bucky, Falcon, Groot, Scar Witch, Black Panther, Star Lord, Drax, Mantis, Doctor Strange, Spider Man. None of those people are gonna die. Like none of
Yeah,
those people are
that-
gonna stay dead.
yeah, especially since they're all new.
Yep.
Like there's a very clear divide, and it's like you look at who didn't turn to
Iron
dust.
Man, Nebula, Captain America, Thor, Hulk, Black Widow, Rocket, War Machine, Okoye, and M'Baku. The only people I can see staying alive from that is Hulk, Okoye, and M'Baku. And,
Or you
and
mean-
Iron Man. And Iron Man.
Or you mean like
Yeah.
guaranteed to stay alive?
Yeah. Everybody else I think is dead because
So
they're
that-
gonna sacrifice themselves.
That would be interesting to see what would happen to the Guardians then, because that would mean Gamora and Rocket are both dead.
But you also have Adam Warlock and Nova coming into the fray eventually.
That is true. But
Probably.
And Captain Marvel too. So if like Captain Marvel was like, you know what, I'll be part of the Guardians, dude.
would they really kill Rocket so soon though?
Yes, no, yes. It's because
mean-
that's his arc, dude. Okay, so
Yeah.
here's the thing: Nebula is gonna die because, like, Nebula's gonna die. She might even die in the Return of Gamora's death, though I hope that doesn't happen. But Nebula's gonna die for her sister somehow, or she's gonna die in guilt or for the Guardians because that's what her sister would have done. Captain America's gonna die for Bucky and Falcon to come back. Let's see, where am I? Thor is gonna die just because he wants everybody to come back and because he's already lost everything. Black Widow's gonna die just because Rocket's gonna die because he wants Groot, Star-Lord, Drax, and Mantis back, especially Groot,
would
and
be,
that's his arc.
I mean, Iron Man would have to sacrifice himself to bring Peter back too, right?
No, War Machine is gonna sacrifice himself so that Iron Man doesn't have to.
Okay, but he doesn't love Peter though.
What do you
The
mean?
same way, like they established when Thanos threw Gamora off, you have to sacrifice something that you love, like deeply.
I think War Machine dying. I think War Machine dying is him sacrificing himself in the love of Tony.
Oh, I don't know, man. Tony's biting the bullet.
No, he's not. There's no way. There's no way. That would be so fucked up if they were like, if they were talking about him being a father. Like that. That's too much. That's too much for
No,
Marvel.
dude.
Like,
What?
actually, no. Even after watching this, I think that's still too much.
I don't know, man.
And then Okoye and M'Baku, I see.
bring
I don't see any. I don't see any of them. Okoye's gonna die, I think, but M'Baku, I don't think M'Baku's gonna die.
They should make an
Just
M'Baku
because everybody
movie.
loved M'Baku. Yeah.
It just occurred to me. I forgot that they would have to sacrifice something they love, and there is 12 and 12. So they will go down the list, sacrificing themselves to bring back their respective other character. Oh no!
yeah.
I guess the thing is like when you do like the 12 and 12, it's like you look at the Guardians and how unbalanced that is.
No, yeah, exactly.
That
That
it's like-
Rocket, that like cements it even more. That Rocket's gonna die.
Ah,
It's poetry.
they
But
were
at the
not. They
same
were
time-
wrong.
That's so sad, dude. Because like, oh my god, I'm
This
even
is-
getting
this
teary-eyed
is-
right now just thinking about it.
This is what his whole character is like kind of
That-
leading up to. Like,
That's what it's all leading up to. It's leading up to what was said in the second one with Yondu, and then what he said with Thor. Of like, I've got so much to lose, and he's
Yeah.
gonna sacrifice himself to bring back them.
Yeah.
I don't want that. I'm actually going to cry, dude. I'm actually gonna cry when that part happens.
I'm
Like,
just
I'm gonna bawl.
like It's so
I'm gonna let it
crazy.
happen.
It's just I just it's so crazy that as a whole, like over these past 10 years, they were able to like systematically and patiently like build this entire universe and have all these people like know and care about these characters to this level to where this movie that doesn't even follow
I
like a
know.
normal movie structure just works on like
Why
every
the
level.
hell? Why the
It's
hell is my
crazy.
favorite character a fucking raccoon?
It's amazing. And like
Like,
these movies aren't like cinematic masterpieces by any means, but they're fun, you know what I mean? And they're fun in like more than just a schlocky way. They're like
yeah,
genuinely entertaining and fun to watch, and they can be emotional at times. It's crazy.
Mhm. They're not all equal, but the best
Yeah, for
is
sure.
very, very good.
it's just oh my god, it's insane. It's actually insane seeing this stuff.
I don't know. I don't know how much I mean, I think there's going to be sacrifices for sure, especially with how much of a theme sacrifice was in Infinity War. But I don't know. I don't know if they're going to do like 12 and 12, like 12 for 12, or
No, no, they're not doing that. They're definitely
yeah,
not doing
yeah.
that.
And you got to think like it's more than just the Avengers that died. It's half of the entire universe.
That
Mhm.
is true.
So I don't think they could just do like, okay, I'm going to trade my life, and if I trade my life, will you give me these lives back? Because then every single person in the universe would have to do that to like.
No, yeah, yeah, yeah. I don't like. I wasn't thinking about the Soul Stone at all. I was just like saying, like that's why these people are going to choose to sacrifice themselves. You know?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think they'd probably sacrifice themselves in like a final fight or something, like to get to that point where somebody can reverse it.
I'm wondering what Captain
I
Marvel's
guess.
role is going to be in the next film because
I
it's going to
know.
be a big role, or at least it has to be.
Yeah, I mean, apparently she's like ridiculously overpowered.
Yes,
So
dude.
she's gonna
Oh,
be
it's
like
gonna be so
she's gonna be like
exciting to
the
watch.
Goku of this universe. Like she's just gonna
Pretty
come
More
in.
much.
more than Doctor Strange already is.
Oh man, I wonder
That's
how they're gonna
true.
deal with the power. Like how are they gonna deal
Like,
with the power creep?
oh yeah.
It's weird. There are some moments in this movie where like, especially with Doctor Strange, like Doctor Strange is so versatile and has so many powers that like why didn't he just cut off Thanos' head with the portal?
Yeah,
That's the thing, though, right? Like, if he did that, then
Yeah.
that one wouldn't have happened. You know?
Yeah. Or I mean, you think about Ant-Man. You put Ant-Man into any situation
yeah.
and it breaks everything because he's so broken.
I really think that Doctor Strange is more overpowered than Ant Man is.
Hmm.
Like,
I think Ant-Man
whoa.
is just overpowered and broken in the sense like I remember back when Civil War was coming out and everyone said Team Iron Man is like so much more powerful than Team Captain America. It's not even a fight. And
Mhm,
I would say no, because you get Scarlet Witch to freeze all of these people in place, which he can do.
mhm.
Kill
Ant-Man
them.
doesn't even have to do anything. Just throw his shrink discs at everyone and they're dead
Yeah.
immediately. All of them.
Just
It-
stomp
it's-
on him.
yeah, it's those shrink discs. It's or it could shrink himself, go into Thanos' body, and then grow big again.
What if you would throw like a shrink disc on somebody's torso, but it only shrunk the torso, like ripping it off of the limb? Jeez. Or you just
All
threw it
right.
at the head and just shrunk
So,
the head.
to end this, who do you think is gonna die?
I feel like
Hmm.
most of the OG Avengers are eating the bullet, and I'm gonna say it right here, right now, including Tony Stark.
You're wrong.
Including Tony Stark.
You're wrong.
It's
He's so old
definitely.
now. Like
Don't do this.
he's so old.
I feel like
he's been doing it for so long.
especially with who they chose to not dust, this is really gonna feel like above all else, like the final hurrah, like the biggest, like a final
Mhm.
celebration for that original crew.
Yeah.
With
Oh,
Ant
and
they're gonna have-
Rocket.
and Rocket and Ant-Man
Oh,
and
It's-
Captain
it's-
Marvel.
It's them passing the torch onto like the new generation, you know, like the next 10 years of Marvel movies.
Yeah. Do I see like the original six? Do I see them dying? I don't think I'd go that far. I think some of them will. Like
yeah,
I don't know.
okay.
Does
Here's my
Hawkeye
final
like-
list. Here's my final list of deaths. Okay.
Okay.
Nebula's going down. Captain America's going down. Thor's going down. Rocket's going down. War Machine's going down. And I would pick Okoye over M'Baku going down. Black Widow, she's like the biggest question mark for me.
Yeah, I think Okoye makes a lot more sense too as a sacrifice.
Mm-hmm. Because that's her
Andrew.
job is to protect the king. You know.
Do you think at any point during the next Avengers movie, Captain America is gonna look Thanos in the eyes and be like, "This is un-American"? Kill
Yeah,
him right then and
exact
there.
words.
Rips his nuts off.
So he just rips his chin off.
Yeah.
Ah, I don't know. I feel like as far as deaths go, I feel like it's so like everyone says Captain America's gonna die. Every single movie is always like, oh, Cap's gonna die. This one I feel like if they're gonna do it, it's gonna be this
This
one.
is it.
Yeah.
Rocket, I feel like it's all in place.
Uh,
Like everything is like in place for them to do like a rocket sacrifice. I don't know.
That's my favorite. That's my favorite thing about this movie, though, is because we genuinely don't know. Like anything could happen.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know anything.
It's awesome.
I think Thor is. I would say Thor is probably pretty safe.
I think
feel
he's
like
a lock to dying. He's lost so much.
He has
He's
lost
got nothing else to
everything.
live for. He
He's a
even said it.
god. He's
I
a
just-
god.
He's got nothing else to live for. But I feel like of all like the original like Avengers in terms of the ones that got their own movies, I feel like Thor has the most potential to. You could like a Thor 4 has more potential than I think the others.
Like
And
at
Chris
this
Hemsworth
point,
loves loves Thor. I'm probably thinking too much from a real life actor's point of view.
I
don't know.
think like at this point, it's almost torture keeping Thor still alive. Like he's
Well-
watched everybody that he's loved like die in front of him.
Hey, Sif
That's what
is
makes him
still out
stronger.
Nobody gives a shit about Sif.
there.
Like,
Beta Ray Bill. I don't know.
like yeah, he's even said to Rocket, like he's got nothing to lose
But
because
that's-
everybody else is dead.
It's more reason for him to live for those other
No.
people who sacrificed themselves for him.
No,
That's why he's not gonna die. It's his motivation. It
because
keeps
he
him going.
said like he said if it takes me dying, I'll do it because he doesn't care if he dies or not. He's only there to take them down. Because if he
Yes, you're
dies,
right.
then he's going to the place where everybody else is, where his father is, where Loki is, where Heimdall is, dude. He's gone. He's I think him and Cap and Rocket are like the biggest locks.
Yeah, I
will,
can
we,
see that.
will we see Korg and Krag in Avengers 4?
I think we'll see Valkyrie.
Ugh.
Okay.
Maybe.
I could see it. Is she just gonna be like all boozed out and dying of liver damage?
Yeah, you know what? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how she goes.
The opening scene is gonna be like that scene in Winter Soldier where Steve goes to Peggy's hospital. It's gonna be
Mhm.
Thor going to Valkyrie's hospital room.
That's
Like,
another
oh.
thing. That's another reason why I think Cap's dead in this is because he's gonna do it. He's gonna think about Peggy
Mm-hmm.
while doing it. Yikes!
What if they pull a switcheroonie where Iron Man ends up biting the bullet and Captain America is the one that sticks around
And gets Pepper.
and gets the No, it gets the Samuel L. Jackson treatment of like existing in the universe, but we like never see him.
That's way too sad. Like honestly, like that'd be so sad because Pepper is like, oh, I have a child and no father.
Exactly. That's why they'll do it.
No,
'Cause it'll
Marvel
make it
is
that much more
not.
impactful.
No, Marvel is not going to do that. Also,
they're
that
willing
that
to-
would completely redeem War Machine.
If they are willing to turn Spider-Man into ash as he begs for his life in Tony Stark's hands,
Dude,
that's how they
that's-
decided to end the movie for children.
No,
that they
that's
will kill
nothing.
Tony Stark.
That is nothing compared to building up.
That
No,
is
no.
everything.
No, that is nothing compared to building up somebody as a father and then immediately killing him after that.
Do you think
Kids
Pepper?
don't care about that.
Do you think Pepper got dusted?
No.
You don't think so?
She
know
didn't
that-
get dusted, but the baby got dusted.
Yeah.
Oh, ooh. You know, I was thinking about that too. Is like if a pregnant woman gets dusted, does the
Yeah, I
baby
was
get
thinking
dusted?
about that as well.
What if she gets dust and the baby just falls to the
Oh,
floor?
Oh,
I did not want to think about that. This is your fault, Jonathan.
Anyways,
We gotta end this soon.
Yeah.
I need
I mean,
part.
yeah, I don't think I got anything else to say other than I need part 2 now.
Yeah, this like I really legitimately thought I was done being a Marvel Cinematic Universe super fan after like the last year or two.
Mm-hmm.
Even though I've liked the movies for the most part. They even released Guardians 2 last year, which is still my favorite, but I was still just
Really?
yeah. Well, Guardians 2 is still my favorite Marvel movie, yeah. You like this more? Or you don't know yet?
I think I gotta watch it again, but right
I
now I think I'm leaning towards yes.
I think for me it's just I need to see how it finishes.
Yeah.
Like it really like my biggest complaint is that it feels complete, but at the same time it doesn't.
See, right? And then at that point, this movie won't be your favorite. It'll be the second one, you know?
Right. Yeah. You might have to do a thing where it's like, oh, they're both one movie. I'm gonna
Exactly.
count them as both one
Exactly.
movie.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah, but I mean I just felt like I wasn't feeling it anymore, and then this movie comes out and now it's like I am back in it.
Mm-hmm.
Like hardcore.
Yeah,
Oh
I was
god,
kind of
I like
saying something similar. Like that Marvel fatigue is like almost gone now.
yeah,
Oh yeah, it is completely gone from me.
at
now.
least for part 2. Like
Mhm.
Avengers Part 2, I'm full steam ahead right now.
Captain Marvel, full steam ahead. Ant-Man and the Wasp. It's like,
I'm like looking forward to it. It's a wait and see, I guess. I liked
Yeah.
the
like
first
that,
Ant-Man
man.
a lot.
oh
Yeah.
yes, dude.
And if
Very
this is-
underrated Marvel movie.
If this is more of that, then I mean I got no issues. It's just
Yeah, I'm all in.
I mean how the heck are you gonna follow up Infinity War?
I mean,
It-
well, you
it's-
Paul read it up. That's the only way, actually.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
That's it. I just want to see, dude. No, Hawkeye's got to be in it.
I hope
calling it.
I kind of
Calling it
hope
right
so
now.
too.
Hawkeye needs like his Black Widow and Winter Soldier moment.
Exactly, dude.
Like I didn't really care about Black Widow until the Winter Soldier happened, and then
Mhm.
she was like, oh, she was great in that movie, and then
In
they
the
just
bunker
kept
and everything. Yeah.
yeah.
Winter Soldier is still really good. I like it more
Oh,
than
yeah.
Civil War.
Yeah, I mean, my top. I don't know. I really don't know where to place Infinity War yet, even though I've seen it
Mhm.
twice. I've thought about it a lot. I don't know.
In terms of fun factor, I would place it as number one, like even over the other Avengers movies, just because it's so
Oh,
fun seeing all these
definitely.
characters interact with each other.
Best Avengers movie. Avengers
Yeah,
1
best
is seen
Avengers.
through nostalgia goggles.
But it's so hard to like place it on any definitive list, you know, because it's
Yeah.
so different. It's so
And
weird.
it's so like it's the best comic book movie ever made, I think. Just because of how comic booky it is. But if you
Yeah.
were to go off of like just best movie, I don't think you could give it to this one. If that makes sense at all.
It
It's
does.
it's really really bizarre. It like there's really nothing else like this where it's like
Mm-hmm.
it's its own beast. You can't. It's like it doesn't. I don't know if it does work really. If like you never saw another Avengers or Marvel movie, anything. This was the first one you ever saw. You'd have no clue. The movie does nothing to really like give you any backstory to these characters. It just kind of assumes
It
you know them already.
starts and it just keeps running.
Yeah,
And it's
and
great.
it just assumes it's like okay, you probably know what happened already, so we're just gonna keep going. And I'm glad. I'm so glad they did that. Like as a
Same.
fan, that was absolutely the right choice. As something as yeah, if you've never seen a Marvel movie before, then I don't know. You'll probably still get some enjoyment out of it just because it's still well written and it's funny.
Yeah.
And it's got great action, good character moments.
Who would have
It's
thought
just-
that the Guardians of the Galaxy are the best characters in the MCU? Who'd have thought that?
Oh, you're talking about like before the movie came out, like
It's
before
just-
the
yes.
Guardians 1? Yeah,
It's
like
just
nobody even
insane.
knew about or cared about who they were.
People
Mhm.
care about a tree.
Yeah.
Who only says I am Groot and nothing
Who
else.
only says I am Groot. People care
And we.
about a raccoon. I'm gonna cry over a raccoon.
Guardians 2 is still it's still my favorite just because it has
Mhm.
like better character moments, I think, than anything else.
Yep.
Not
Like
by-
It's the
what?
best
Yeah,
character in the
Marvel's
MCU,
been-
dude.
What a bad rep our generation would get if they could just show a screenshot of like Rocket, like a theater crying at a raccoon, and then like showing that to somebody like 40 years ago. They'd be like, "Oh God, I don't want to live anymore. Like, I don't want to
Uh-huh.
live to see the day where people are crying in a theater over a raccoon with a gun."
I'm crying over Gone with the Wind,
Uh,
and now these people are crying over a talking raccoon.
with the
I
machine
wish I
gun.
were dead already.
Speed up the process.
Yeah. Give me a gun. Yeah, that's all I got. Like,
That's all
there's
I
a
got
lot.
too,
There's a
man.
lot to say, and I
Yeah.
think we covered a lot of it.
I just appreciate the dour, empty feeling that I've still hold in my belly right now talking about like how
I
this movie.
Yes, this
I'm
is a
so
depressing
glad.
movie.
I'm so glad that they like just went with it and they didn't even. I mean, there was the post-credit scene, which we didn't talk about. If you want to talk about that real fast.
Samuel. Oh, okay. So my friend doesn't care about the movie, and he asked me what the post-credit scene was, and I just
Mhm.
straight up told him. I said it's Samuel L. Jackson saying "motherfucker" as he turns into Ash. He laughed and he said, "No, really." And I was like, "No, really. That's actually the post-credit scene."
Mhm.
You
So
know, it was the post-credit scene that I think really like set in how devastating this will be. It
Oh,
was
yeah,
the
you saw the helicopter,
yeah,
dude.
it was the
that was
helicopter,
riveting.
and it's like, and then it just hit me. It's like, how many more incidents like this just happened all at once?
It was like Kingsman, right? When they start playing the music, and then everybody just starts killing each other. It gave me that like really hectic feeling.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's oh my gosh, it's like how many highways were just destroyed by crashes? How many like trains and subways just went nuts because there was no one to pilot them or stop and whatever. Oh my gosh, it's insane. Uh
Yuck. Yeah, but
But
yeah,
yeah.
Carol Danvers, Captain Marvel. It's gonna be something else. It's gonna
Yup.
be It's gonna mean
do
a
we
lot.
do we know who's directing that yet, or is it still hidden?
Yeah, I don't think we know that yet.
I thought it was a female, like a famous female director. I
let me
think
see.
they already like got her. I think I
I
can't
mean,
remember what she did though.
they're shooting it, that there's gotta be a director, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
April 19th, 2017. Anna Boden and Ryan Fleck. Not
What kind
sure.
of last name is Fleck?
Oh.
Get this guy out of here.
Oh, yeah, she did Mississippi Grind with Ryan Reynolds and Ben Mendelsohn. That's a real good movie.
Mhm. And
Oh yeah, both of them did that. Oh man, yeah, this is gonna be a pretty good movie.
oh yeah, I mean, I don't think Marvel has it in them to make a movie that isn't like
Well,
good.
yeah.
I mean, they've made movies that I've disliked, but I still wouldn't say they're like poorly made.
Hmm.
Mostly, there's
people are-
some stinkers, but
People are upset at her costume, how it wasn't like red and blue, or how it was
Yeah.
like green and black. But I'm like, are you like? We know by now that of course she's gonna get the red and blue. Like, of course
Yeah.
it's just like a starting outfit. Like, are you
The
kidding me?
Also, I don't even know if that's a starting outfit. More just they're gonna CG it.
No, I don't think so.
no, there's no reason to CG colors onto a costume. I think.
No, yeah.
When it happens, I'll laugh.
Yeah.
I'll laugh in your faces.
Well, we'll see.
And I'll
I think
spit on you.
I think Avengers 4 shall definitely be red and black, blue, especially with the pager having the red and
For
blue
sure.
suit.
For sure. For sure.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. Thank you very much for listening to this long spoiler cast for a long movie.
Doesn't
there
feel like
was-
it though.
Yeah, there was a lot of stuff to unpack, a lot of stuff to unravel. I hope we did it. I hope we kept your interest long enough. Tell us what you think about Avengers Infinity War. I loved it just because it was so different. Nothing has come out in theaters that has ever like been this way before, been presented this way before. Like I said, this is a 1-to-1. This is a comic book straight up, just in moving picture form. Thank you guys for watching, and we will see you next time on Frame by Frame. Also, get ready for a God of War spoiler cast coming soon. Adios.
I don't want to go, Mr. Stark.